How you doing, folks? This is Rex at the Buckeyenest again. We're doing another impromptu movie this morning. Leah's going to be showing up here any minute, and we got therapy class today. But I met a really neat young lady who comes over here. Okay, let me correct myself. She lives in Clayton, Ohio, and she and a group of people over in Richmond, Indiana are trying to set up a program similar to the program Leah's been doing here since 2006. And she's in here to learn all kinds of neat things about that. And her name is Robin, and I'm going to be doing a short interview with her. And then when that's done, Barry Goforth is doing roping class again. So enjoy. Meet Robin. She comes over here from Indiana. She's setting up a similar program with some friends over there near a VA facility. And she wants to tell you all about it. She's over here to learn what the Freedom Team does at the Dayton VA. So, without further ado, this is Robin.
How you doing, folks? This is Rex at the Buckeyenest, and we're back out here at the Dayton VA today. And Barry Goforth is going to be doing some roping over here, and we're going to get that recorded. But I have met this young lady in front of this camera. Her name is Robin. And you're from Indiana, right, Robin?
Well, I live in Clayton, Ohio, but I work in Richmond, Indiana.
I see. So over there, you're setting up a PTSD therapy program, something similar to this, and you're over here for this program for what reason?
I'm here to see what Leah's done here at the VA, get ideas from her program, help out as much as I can, and also figure out how we can work with Leah's program here to get veterans continuing therapeutic horseback riding after they're done here.
Okay, now, you'll have to forgive me. I don't know anything about the big city of Richmond. Do they have a VA facility there?
Richmond does have a small VA office, but they operate underneath the Dayton VA, so it's all
So you're going to try then to set up the program over in Richmond.
Right. Well, we have our own facility in Richmond, so we would be teaching lessons on our property.
Oh, what facility is that?
It is Sunrise Therapeutic Riding Center, and it's located just outside Richmond on Minneman Road.
What's the address?
2617.
Got a phone number?
I do. I would have to look it up.
She's going to look it up here. And are you the owner or the main cheese or main squeeze?
I am the instructor in training right now, and I'm finishing certification this winter, so we'll be ready to go with veterans programs next spring. We also have a executive director who teaches part-time, so we're a two-person operation right now.
Okay.
And growing.
And what's your phone number?
My phone number is 937-241-2512.
Okay.
And the Sunrise phone number is something I should have memorized.
That's all right. This is impromptu, now remember.
It is.
I kind of sneak up on you and did this to you, so.
The Sunrise phone number is 765-935-4291.
Great, great. And what's the lady's name again that you said was the director over there?
The executive director is Rebecca Funk.
Rebecca Funk. So she could call that last number you just gave me, and people could call that and get information. Do you guys have a website?
We do. It's sunriseinc.org.
Very good. Sunriseinc.org. That's easy to remember.
Yep.
Yeah. How many horses you own yourself?
Personally, I am in the process of purchasing my first horse, who is a program horse out at Sunrise.
Very good. How many horses do you guys have in the program?
In the program right now we have 12 horses and 1 pony, and we've just retired a horse and are looking to add to our herd.
Wow, that's a lot of horses.
Yeah.
Now, who owns all those horses? Are they volunteers, other volunteers that come in, or?
A few of the horses are owned by board members and the executive director. Otherwise, the program owns the horses.
So. How you set up for volunteers? Are you looking for volunteers out there in that area?
We are always looking for volunteers. We have all sorts of opportunities. We do a lot of fundraising events out at fairs and festivals. So people who like to interact with crowds and sell stuff, that's a great opportunity to get involved. We bale our own hay for our horses, so a few times every summer there's a whole lot of activity when it's hay baling time. And then we need help in our lessons, people to lead horses, groom, tack, sidewalk next to our students. We have students with a variety of disabilities, so some people need extra stability, a helping hand. So we have lots of opportunities for all sorts of volunteers. And the only rule is you have to be over 14 to come without a parent.
I see. Okay. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty, well, I'll tell you what, I'll extend this to you and your director. When you guys do your fundraisers, if you want to send me information about them, I'll be glad to blast it out through my network. And we're not too far from Richmond. How far are we from Richmond?
Here at the VA, it's just under an hour drive, I believe.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe I can help find you some volunteers over in that neighborhood too. So, all right. Well, Robin, my pleasure meeting you. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a good day, and let's go do the roping session here with Barry. You ever seen Barry do roping?
I have not.
He's great. He's great. You'll enjoy it. So,
Very excited.
folks, this is Rex at the Dayton VA. Yeah, I had to think about it a minute. So, at Dayton VA, and we're going to be doing the roping class here pretty soon.
This is Barry Goforth, folks. He comes out here to the Dayton VA and volunteers his time to try and give veterans out here a few moments out of their lives where they don't have to worry about getting shot or getting killed or having to go on a mission to recover somebody who's been taken prisoner of war or looking for colleagues that just may have got lost. Barry does roping classes out here at the Dayton VA. Barry's a veteran himself. He was in Vietnam in '68, I believe. He was a generator repairman. So whenever the generator went down, Barry was always getting ugly looks from the guys hollering at him to get the power back up. If you ever want to hear that whole story someday, you can go up on the 23rd Medical Battalion's web pages here at the Buckeyenest and watch those videos, and you'll hear that in there. I do probably need to warn you, the videos themselves are not graphic, but the stories that the veterans tell are. So without further ado, this is Barry Goforth. You have a good day, and I'll be back when he's done.
Let me have to rework them. Well, I started out through the PTSD program here, and I've been one of them. Grew up I was born in 1950, so I wanted to be a cowboy. When I was little, that's all I wanted to be. Not no college professor or the president. I just wanted to be a cowboy. Back in 1950s and 60s, that's all we had. It's cowboy movies and shows on TV, and hell, they were my idols. And even today, a lot of people put Clint Eastwood and John Wayne and everybody up there on a pedestal, and that's what I did. So I made a decision a long time ago. It was a dream at the same time, and we all got to follow our dreams because they might just turn out to be a real good dream that comes true. And if you pursue it enough, you're gonna get your wish. And I just worked at it real hard as a kid, trying to learn how to ride, and never picked up a rope until I was 28 years old. But I learned to ride real good. I learned to break horses, and I learned everything there is about a horse. Not all of it. I don't know everything, but I've learned enough about them that I can conquer them and break them to ride, teach them to rope, and let other people rope on them. But my goal was to just be a good cowboy and all the stuff that goes with it. And later on, I wanted to do something in the rodeo, and I saw that calf roping was probably about the safest sport in rodeo that there is. You can still get hurt, you can still get killed, you can get bucked off. A lot of things can happen. But I went ahead and after I came home from the service, I wanted to just completely blot all my service out. I wanted to get rid of it. I wanted to forget it. And 45 years later, I found out you can't forget it. It ain't gonna happen. So I
engulfed myself with roping and messing with my horses, and it kept my mind busy. I practiced. I bought 3 good horses, 14, 15 head of cattle, a little small farm, and built me outdoor arena, and just roped around the clock. I was a professional certified welder out at the airport, different places, made good money. So when I come home at night, I'd rope. You know, everybody else would just take a bath, shower, watch TV, and go to bed. Well, I'd come home and I'd rope every evening until about dark. And I just wanted to pursue that dream, and I set a goal that I'd like to be the next world champion. So I went to the world champion calf roping school, Roy Cooper in Denton, Texas, and he taught me how to rope, and he taught me how to be 9 seconds. I'd never been 9 seconds before at a rodeo, and he taught me how to do everything fast and rope to be perfect. And if you rope to be perfect, you're going to go out and win money. And he showed me that. But I tied a calf at box 21 is what made me go. I tied a calf at box 21. I threw my hands in the air and walked back to my horse, and he got up. I'd have won the rodeo if that calf would have laid tied for 6 seconds, but he got up. So that's when I went to Roy Cooper's school. But to make a longer story short, I just did everything I could to occupy my mind, and roping was one of those things and horses that did it for me. You know, if you got a bad habit, you start a new one, you know, to get rid of the old one if you want to try and get rid of it. So I just kept myself engulfed with that roping, and I think if you pick it up, I call it a fever. Once you start messing with a rope and learn how to twirl it and learn how to catch with it, it's just a fever. How many of you was in the other class? Were you in the other class? None of you were in another class? This is just all new guys? Okay. So if you start playing with it, you get good with it, it'll make you want to go out there and maybe rope your sister, or rope your wife, or rope a tree trunk, or a trash can, once you learn how to do it. But
He even roped me one time.
well, yeah. And my grandkids at home, they're starting to rope each other, and I keep telling them, I said, man, you guys aren't dummies. Don't rope each other. You know, you're going to burn your neck and leave rings around their neck. My son left a ring around my youngest daughter's neck, so I had to put a stop to it. But it's fun. It's something that gets to be a fever. If you've always wanted to be a cowboy, you'll like roping, that's for sure. Because that's a big part of it. That's been the oldest sport in the United States, is rodeo. But I'll twirl a few here, tell you the aspects of a rope and the parts of it, because there's a few parts to it. This part right here on the end, Clint Eastwood had a movie, or one of them. No, maybe it was John Wayne, had a dog named Hondo. Years ago, I had a dog named Hondo. That's what you call that little ring right there at the end. It's called the Hondo. This little leather piece right there is called the burner. It's a leather piece, keeps the rope from burning in too after it slides through all the time. And when you're roping, and you make a loop, you want to take your foot and have the same size loop every time. You pull it up to your chin, it should be about right, or up to your nose, something like that. When you pull it up there, you want this Hondo to be at least a third of the way down that rope. Because when you flick your wrist, throw that Hondo, that's like a rock on a rope. It throws that loop, gives you a little weight to it to throw that loop and turn it to open it up. I know you've all seen probably old movies of Roy Rogers and Trigger. They'll get it out here and go way big, you know, go around. Well, that's how they do that with the flick of the wrist. If you don't flick that wrist, you can't open it up because it'll be shut all the time. But then as soon as you point that finger, flick that wrist, you can open it right up. Any questions so far? Like I said, you want the same size loop. You want everything the same every time. Pull it up to your chin or up to your nose. Make sure your spoke is right. The spoke is usually the distance from your hand to your elbow. Where the hondo is, pull her down there like that, you'll know you're close. Get anywhere close and you'll be all right. Then you throw your slack. That's what you call it when you throw the rope back up in the air. When you're twirling, you want it a little bit high over here. If you're right-handed, you want it high up here on the left-hand side and then low on the right-hand side. And just keep twirling continuously. Then when you throw, drive it out there just like you're throwing a ball. Your arm will go straight out. And it should go right straight on. If everything else is right.
Barry, what kind of horse do you have to do roping with?
You know, it's not a mandatory thing that you have to have a quarter horse. I started out with a friend of mine, standard bred. And actually, when I started roping, I had a buddy, me and him looked at each other one day and said, hey, I want to learn to rope. Well, he had 3 goats and 2 walking horses. So we started chasing goats around and riding walking horses. But a quarter horse is really what you need if you're going to be in competition. You got to be able to go from 0 to 60 real fast. And a quarter horse, they can turn on a dime and give you 9 cents change. They can run the quarter mile. They're just a good athletic animal. And in my opinion, they have better disposition than most other horses. A lot of people argue with me on that, and I won't argue. But I'm partial. I just like quarter horses. And paint horses, if I got a little quarter horse in it. But other than that, I've always rode quarter horses. But anything you can get on and twirl a rope is what I was after when I started. If you can sit in the saddle and ride it around and chase something with it. Hell, I've roped dogs, I've roped cats. You name it, I've roped it. But I've traveled the pro rodeo circuit now for 30 years. And now I've got my son going. Bought him a new horse. We hit about 14 of them this summer. We didn't have time to hit too many because we were in between horses. I borrowed a horse. And we've got 2 green ones at home. There was 2 green to haul, so I finally ended up buying a good horse off a guy. But we expect to bust out next year and hit 40 or 50 rodeos in the summer. And when I quit rodeoing myself, I was hitting 47. So that's quite a few rodeos just in the summertime. And I went to several of them in the wintertime at Cincinnati Gardens, Wisconsin, Oshkosh, Tennessee Dome. Just been to a lot of indoor buildings in the wintertime. But now I'm just pushing my son down the road, trying to make him better. I'd like to see him be the next world champion. Has anybody ever twirled a rope, or anybody, you guys ride horses before you ever came here?
I've rode horses, I ain't never twirled no rope.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you rope your girlfriend or do about anything after you learn to twirl this rope. It'll never get away from you. These ropes are 32 foot long, so you can reach out there and touch somebody with one. Got any questions? Any more questions, Dewey?
All right, so I'm a dummy.
Okay.
I'm going to ask this question. You said quarter horse.
Yeah.
Now I know there's different breeds of horses. Is a quarter horse a breed, or is that a generic term for some kind of a horse that could be any breed?
No, it's just it's a blood breed. You know, it's what they never conglomerated it, put it together like an American saddle horse or nothing. You know, take 3 or 4 different breeds and breed them and call it an American saddle horse. Quarter horse has always been a quarter horse and always will be. I never like to mix anything with a quarter horse. I've got a buddy out in Newcastle, Wyoming, was my lieutenant in Vietnam, and I never even knew he was from Wyoming. I don't know why I didn't know that, but I spent a whole year with him and didn't know that. And then 40 years later, we have a reunion to get us all together, and they have it at his house. And I go out there, and he's got 550,000 acres.
Wow.
He's got 500 and something head of Charolais cattle. Got 75 head of horses. And it's kind of funny because you walk out of his house and he goes, just as far as you can see, I own that way. And then over here, just as far as you can see, I own that way. And then that way, it was all the way to the mountains was my property and all that. But I find out he's breeding Arabians to quarter horses. And I didn't think anybody wanted Arabians. I mean, excuse me if I hurt anybody's feelings, but then they breed them with quarter horses. And she told me the reason for that, they wanted a big, stocky, agile, versatility horse. And so they bred to get these big 16-hand quarter horse Arabs, Arabians. And they had nice bulky legs and everything, and in my opinion, they were nice horses.
Was that Lieutenant Coppin you was talking about?
Tom Wright.
Tom Wright.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You guys don't know it, but they had a reunion for his unit here at Barry's Ranch last year. A year ago, September. I recorded all that, and it's up on my website. If you guys want cards, I'll give them to you, and you can go check out the website for that kind of stuff. But I know the lieutenant he was talking about here.
So what's the average hand on the quarter horse?
Average height?
Yeah.
14 hands is about as short as you want to get. You know, the shorter the horse, the bumpier they are when they take off running. They're just a lot more choppy because they got short-legged. But just a good average height is 15 hands. For calf roping, you don't want to get a 16-hand horse unless you're 7'5" tall. Because me, I want a little 14-hand horse, 56 inches, 57 inches tall. You don't have very far to step down when you get off the horse. But the taller the horse, the harder the fall, And I fell a lot of times off just a short horse. Fall off a big one, it messes you up more.
How many trophies you got, Barry?
Well, I got a room full of trophies, but we got our trophies mostly from Western Pleasure and barrels and poles, things like that.
Okay.
At the rodeo, you win buckles. I do have several buckles. I won the state of Indiana in 1985, and that was an accomplishment that I'd never let nobody from Indiana forget. We get around talking, I say, you want to buy a real buckle? Especially after a couple margaritas. But I've got 4 or 5 buckles. I've won different places. I won 10th up the Quarter Horse Congress, which is going on right now. I won 10th in a go-round up there one year. And that year there was 132 guys in it from all over the United States. But they don't give too many trophies, at the rodeos. They give buckles, saddles, belts, boots, things like that. Most of our horses and things give away the ribbons and the buckles.
Okay.
But I got my share of them. I'd like to have more.
Is there do you teach, when these guys get done with this program, can you teach them in private lessons?
Yeah, I've done that for several years now. I got 3 pretty good horses, but I don't have anything that I could put a guy on that would be as gentle and laid back as what they need. What my horses are more professional, where that if you kick them, they're going to take off. And a lot of guys, you know, they'd have to hang on with all 4 feet, both hands, and their teeth just to set in the saddle on a couple of them I got, because they're like racehorses. You know, you nod your head like that, come out of the box, that son of a gun's going to give it everything he's got. He'll go just as fast as he can go coming out of that box. And you're the man in control, so if you just want to kick him a little bit, it ain't going to work. He's still going to go give it all he's got. But yeah, I wished I had, I mean, the most important thing that taught me is these dummies. Now I have what we call the Trojan horse. He's a wooden horse, I built him. He sits still, he don't eat nothing. He's about that tall, about 14 hands. You get on him, rope the dummy, get off, run down, and tie a dummy or whatever, you know. But that's where you really learn. Whenever I made mistakes at the rodeo, I'd come back, get on old Woody, the Trojan horse, and perfect myself. Just bring myself back to being perfect. Because you gotta be perfect. Every time you twirl, you gotta get that rope up just right. Do everything right every time. And when you get your slack, you gotta reach out there and get that. I fumbled that one. I'm trying to talk and rope. I can't do both.
How much money can you make doing this? Can you do it for a living, Barry?
They finally got it up to where you can make a couple million. I mean, there's guys winning millions of dollars doing this. You can enter $500,000 rodeos and rope 2 cows in 8 seconds. Take 16 seconds or 18 seconds out of your life and win $500,000 is a pretty good deal. But they're really getting it to where you can win a lot of money now. Matter of fact, the PRCA Rodeo National Finals will be on TV here pretty soon. And those guys are winning $25,000 or $28,000 a night. And they have 10 days of that. So 10 times 25,000 if they won it every night, man, that's $250,000 right there. They call it Cowboy Christmas because it pays so good, the Rodeo National Finals does. I like to perfect it to where that you rope it, you can toss it off. That way you don't have to walk up here and take it off every time. So when you get good at it, that's how you end up. You'll be able to just toss it right back off. Which they hang up sometimes.
But the key is you got it.
Yeah, the key is you caught the son of a gun.
Yeah.
I've got some zebus right now. Anybody ever hear of zebu? They're an African cow. One of the countries, I don't know what country did it, but I think it's Mongolia or something. They took those big African zebus, they look like Brahmins. Got the horns and the hump. And they bred them for miniatures. So now they're only that tall. I got 2 of them. And those things, they're scared of everybody. Anything and everybody. You'll never get any closer than about the corner of that fence to one of them. And they can really run. But that's what we've been practicing on. Something that'll run fast. Call them zebus. Z-E-B-U. Any more questions? Or?
Do you do team roping in these some?
You know, I'd rather watch paint dry than do team roping. I never wanted to depend on anybody else. If you're in team roping now, I'm glad you mentioned that. But in team roping, it's two guys. So here's the team roping, buddy. Rope the head, dally around the horn, run that way. Then the other guy comes in and ropes the hind feet. So it takes two guys and two horses. Double entry fee, and you got a chance of going home mad at your buddy because he missed the head or he missed the feet. But I've been at rodeos before and had guys get hurt, and their partner will come up and ask me to team rope. And I've gone out there and they always tell me, just go out and calf rope him, you know, just go out and calf rope him. Because it's legal to rope one around the neck in team roping, but the actual 100% way that you're supposed to catch is around the horn. They call that a slick horn catch. And it looks the same there, but you've caught, yeah, I'm above the nose. This is a slick horn catch right there. That's what they call it. That's the way you're supposed to catch team rope. And then you just dally around, take your horse and turn him around, rope the hind feet. But I just never, I wanted something to do with me and my horse. You know, just a good bond. And man, there ain't nothing like bonding with a good calf roping horse. If you get together with him, it's the world's the limit, you know. I've gone through a lot of roping horses. I've never killed one. I've had several die. Over the years, they got old. They had to die. But I've probably had 15 or 20, at least, maybe 22 or 25 in 30-something years of roping. But you got to have, if you're going to travel up and down the road, you got to have practice horses. You got to have a backup horse. Besides having a good horse that you haul all the time, you got to have backup. Because you enter a rodeo and your horse comes out dragging his hind leg, you know, you ain't going to go to rodeo with him. So you got to have a backup or borrow somebody's or something like that. Everybody ready to twirl a rope and see if you can rope yourself? I roped myself in front of 9,000 people at Columbus when I first started rodeoing. I backed the box and I said, boy, I love this. I'm going to do this. I backed the box, come out and twirled my rope, and somehow when I went down like this, my loop was too big and got behind her hind leg, and I rode all the way to the other end with it hooked under her hind leg, and then when I got it out from under her hind leg, it fell over top of me. It just went right around me, and I rode right in like a gunsel.
So did the clowns run out and save you?
Yeah. Actually, the clown hollered at me.
Yeah?
He said, I beat the calf at the other end because I wanted to hurry up and get out of the arena. I'd done embarrassed myself. And so I beat the calf to the catch pen. And the clown hollered at me, said, get out of the catch pen so we can put the calf in. So I got hollered at by the clown. But pick you out a rope. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. You got plenty of rope.
Well, the day's done, folks. We had 5 horses out here today, and that's Leah getting ready to pull off there. We had 5 horses out here. She brought out Sierra and Cavalry and Rio and Tiger Lily and I'll think of the other one here in a minute. Cavalry, Rio, Tiger Lily, Sierra, and Cruz. How could I forget Cruz? She's got them all in that trailer. She's heading home for the day. She's got to go pick up her kids and get settled in with them. So, until next week, folks. This has been Rex and the Freedom Equestrian Team, and that's Becky Fitch leaving there. See you next week.